You know, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Okay, let's do it. I tweeted, laughing my off. Tank Davis outsold Haney versus Garcia. That fight, by fighting Rolly years ago, I am going to torture y'all today with content. Now is the time. Now I know some of you guys are thinking, but Ego, what are you talking about? Boom, we got action. Make sure you guys, I tell you all the time, follow me on social media, @BoxingEgo on X, formerly known as Twitter, @BoxingEgo1 Instagram, link in the description. The commission report has now officially come out. Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, the fight from 420 where we did see a fighter get smoked, the Haney pack. The comps are out, the numbers are out. It says sold 11,480 tickets. So they sold less than 12,000 tickets in a building that could be configured for approximately 19,000. They comped almost 2,000 tickets, meaning, gave them away, family, friends, etc. The gate, although it's a respectable one for boxing, it didn't surpass Tank. That gate was 4.3 million, 4,356,065 via Boxing Myths. In case you guys were wondering, here's the receipts. Authorized combative sports tax return, and they're required to show you the receipts. New York returns processing April 24th, so days after, and this has been obtained and has now leaked on the internet. So again, I'm not gonna say this is a bad gate, but all things considered, you would have expected more, and I'll explain why throughout this video. So keep that in mind, 4.3 million gate. Gervonta Davis, however, in May of 2022, in the same building, Gervonta Davis, that fight with Rolly, beat Haney Garcia in the same building. Like I keep saying, I told y'all, Tank Davis is a bona fide star. He sold more tickets, so that's for starters. They sold more tickets, so they had sold 16,282. The comps were less than the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. They only comped 900. So this is good if you keep your comps down and you keep your solds high. Common sense, really, but the reason being is that means it's such a hot ticket that people are willing to pay whatever they have to pay to get in the building, and you don't have to give out too many free tickets for any number of reasons. Although comps, every fight has some comps because you have friends and family of the main event and things like that you have to consider. So for Tank Rolly, the gate was $4,496,710. So almost a $4.5 million gate. I told you guys previously that fight with Tank and Rolly set records. PBC Davis versus Romero, venue Barclays Center, and you see right there, total gross sales, boom, you never know. You guys all can see total gross sales right about there. $4,496,710, right? And the numbers that I just went over, you can clearly see sold. There's the 4 million comped right here, the 900 totals, blah, blah, blah. This is the capacity and all the specifics. So what does this truly mean? It means Tank Davis is a star, like I said. In addition, for me, Boxing Ego, the best in the business, and it's not even close. I mean, this is not news to me. It's just a way for me to off y'all, all the haters, all the doubters. I put, crazy thing is that Haney Garcia, the Ryan Garcia when he was promoting the fight, he really ran around. He was very erratic. He was saying, oh, I got to save the kids. I've witnessed these heinous crimes and these abominations and things. He was just acting almost weird. No one knew what kind of type of time he was on, right? And Ryan Garcia, he kind of feigned a kidnapping and had people concerned and worried. He said he married some OnlyFans chick, got her pregnant, and they were happy. He said he bought some ring. He said Kanye West was gonna walk him out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he said. He pretended to drink beer on stage, said he was drunk and been drinking every day in camp. So the bottom line is Ryan Garcia was full of antic. He had nonstop antics before, during, and now even after the Haney Garcia. He's dropping music videos even after. He tested positive after with Ostarine. It's been more of the same. And all that considered, Haney Garcia still like a champion, and still the fight sold less than a fight with Tank Davis and Rolly in the same building on the same coast. Now, let's further that. Tank Davis is not from New York, neither is Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. But that shows me that you could put Tank, like Jay-Z said, put me anywhere on God's green earth, I triple my worth, mother sucker. Yup, it's perfect. You could put Tank anywhere on God's green earth, he gonna triple that worth. Shows me that he's the face of boxing, right? Davis versus Garcia fight blew this out of the water. And I'm talking about Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. That goes without saying. That had over a $20 million gate. It was one of a few fights from the PBC that always gets hated, Premier Boxing Champions, that had such a gate, 20 mil. You got Errol Spence and Crawford, yada, yada, yada. So they had multiple fights that did over a $20 million gate. I mean, comparatively speaking, Haney Garcia, with all this antic, literally sold 4.3 roughly. So we'll just round down to the nearest whole number. Let's say 4 million, right, was the live gate. 4 times 5, that's 20. So it 5x'd it when Ryan Garcia fought Gervonta Davis. Big problem. He 5x'd the results fighting the same guy. So it shows you that the Tank and Ryan fight was bigger. Another problem with that is you have fools on the internet and they were screaming for anybody who would listen, old media, the Tank haters, the racists, the usual suspects, the shape shifters. They all ran around and they were claiming that, oh, Tank only sold because of Ryan. Ryan Garcia sold all the tickets. So if that logic actually made sense, then how come Tank versus Frank Martin is barely any tickets left and it's set up to do approximately a $14+ million gate? 2 black fighters. The fight has 0 to do with Ryan Garcia. They haven't been doing what everyone else does to Tank, which is to sell Tank versus Frank Martin. PBC, Amazon Prime, Tank and Frank Martin, they've entertained you with the thought of the other person fighting the other person. They didn't do a bunch of clout chasing and name dropping, which Haney and Garcia definitely did to try to bolster their fight. Bill Haney was frequently talking about Floyd Mayweather, frequently talking about Gervonta Davis, saying stuff like, we offered Tank $20 million. Tank is not using Devin Haney's name to sell his fight with Frank Martin and is still doing great. So the notion that, oh, the Ryan Garcia and Tank fight only sold because of Ryan Garcia, that has now been debunked officially. I mean, I knew it was cap to begin with because I'm Boxing Ego. I know everything. The funny thing is this, the common denominator is Gervonta Davis. He's the one each time out continuing to sell. And like I said at the beginning of this video, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So the haters can say whatever they want about Gervonta Davis. He continues to sell. Let me tell you all this. Not only did the fight with Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia 5X whatever Haney Garcia did, right? In terms of the live gate, because we don't know what the pay-per-view numbers are because Golden Boy hit him and Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia and DAZN hit him. So we don't know what the numbers are, but just common sense. If the numbers did over 1 million, that would probably be the biggest fight they've ever done, especially in America. They definitely would have advertised or highlighted that. So remember when I made a video just recently talking about Tank and Frank Martin and how Tank's a star and his numbers are up and he continues to be the face of boxing? The haters were mad at that, but now you have no choice but to eat your word. People are like, no, this and that, and trying to argue, but the proof is in the pudding. The proof is always going to be in the numbers. I tell you guys all the time, I'm very calculated. I tell you what I do on my channel. I tell y'all, and then I show y'all. Bill Haney said the Mayweather era is over. The Tank Davis era is over. It's the Haney era. And now they're stuck picking up the pieces because they thought Ryan Garcia was going to be some easy work. And Devin Haney had a difficult time with him and couldn't beat Ryan Garcia, at least in the fight we seen on 420. Now, to add insult to injury or put salt in the wound, the numbers come back and it underperformed. And just like I predicted in my recent Tank video before these numbers just leaked, which they just leaked today, you look at it and I told you, if the numbers came back strong, Golden Boy, DAZN, Haney, Bill Haney, Ryan Garcia, all of these guys or entities would have been highlighting and advertising that, which led me to believe that they didn't break Tank Davis's number with Rolly. And that's what I said before it happened. The great ego Stradamus strikes again. You know for a fact, especially a person like Bill Haney, if they outsold Tank, that would be the first thing out of his mouth. He would be like, oh, look, told you Devin is him, you know, things like that. But the fact that everybody was mum and silent showed me that it probably underperformed, even with all of Ryan's antics. Now, to add more salt into the wound, because I'm the best in the business, it goes without saying that Haney Garcia underperformed compared to two undefeated fighters last year, Tank versus Ryan Garcia. I've already covered that. But Tank also outsold the Haney Garcia fight in Davis versus Rolly Romero and Mario Barrios, and when he fought Hector Luis Garcia in DC. Now that's crazy. That's crazy. He's fighting a guy who's, there's no way you could say Hector Luis Garcia is as known at the time when Tank fought him in January of last year as Ryan Garcia, and he's doing a bigger live gate in DC than Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Where the Haneyacks at? I need to know this. I need the Haneyacks to respond. But just like I said, I'm the best in the business. Notice how all of a sudden, when there's something that comes out that doesn't make Devin Haney look like the superstar that they said he is, now the Haneyacks go quiet. I also put out this tweet, the math is not mathing. It came out that allegedly Ryan in the fight with Haney and Haney in the fight with Ryan, they generated $85 million just between the two of them for the main event, right? Seeing graphics like this, it said $50 million for Ryan, $35 million for Devin Haney. So my question is, with these numbers and the live gate being less than the Rolly fight, how did they get paid? Look, it even says accounting at Golden Boy Promotions, Brooklyn, New York, Barclay address, yada, 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 Golden Boy Promotions, LLC. So my question is, since everybody ran around and said that they made $85 million combined in this particular fight, that's not even including whatever it costs to rent the Barclay Center out, to pay employees to work the concessions, to pay the fighters on the undercard like Arnold Barboza and anybody else who's on the undercard. So how do you generate this type of revenue to pay the fighter with a fight that sold under, like, basically a little over $4 million? the math is not mathing to me. Unless it's some anomaly situation like Turkey Al-Sheikh is just breaking bread because he's in charge of the Saudi Arabia Riyadh season and they're just cashing out. Like Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. To have that fight in Saudi Arabia, they put up a crazy purse. That's the only time it would make sense, is if you have somebody who is really just trying to break bread to lose bread on an event, and they have the money that they can afford to lose this type of money on an event that is not going to provide ROI. He doubled down on this notion that he had made over 35 million. So the graphic said 50 million to Ryan and 35 million to Devin Haney. And to which he says, if you thought I made 35 million, think again, think bigger. And he called people who thought that a bitch. What's Too Short's favorite word? Itch. Why they want to say it like short? So I need you guys to explain if a fight with Devin Haney, to me, that's underperforming. The Haneyaks said this was a mega fight that was going to sell out. They comped more tickets than the fight with Rolly and Tank. They made less money than the fight in that set records with Rolly and Tank, which is why they didn't advertise that it broke records, which they clearly would have done had they done that. The promotion, like, this is really concerning when we're talking about the star power, because if Bill Haney said that the Mayweather ish is over and the Tank Davis era is over, do not let them pee on your leg and tell you it's raining, yada, yada, yada. And you had this crazy buildup with Ryan doing all 1000% antic. And yet, even with all of that of push, it still did less than what Tank did with Rolly years ago. As I've said throughout this video, that's very concerning because Tank and Rolly organically sold the fight. The other thing to note is Rolly, he had less than 20 fights. At the time Tank Davis fought him, Rolly was 14-0. Plus he had a controversial fight with Jackson Marinez where people thought he lost. Rolly at the point had never been a champion. When he fought his next fight after Rolly, Tank fought Hector Luis Garcia in DC. Both of these fights, as I stated throughout this video, outsold Haney Garcia, and we can prove it in the next 5 minutes. But the question here is, Rolly 14-0, never been a champion. Hector Luis Garcia was a guy from a lighter division that moved up, who had beaten Chris Colbert in the lighter division. And Tank is taking names like this, and he's producing bigger gates. And these aren't, at the time, especially, household names. Versus Ryan Garcia was a year removed from the Tank fight, and he's fighting Devin Haney, who Bill Haney said was the face of boxing. Ryan said he's the face of boxing, and collectively they can't beat Tank's record versus a 14-0 Rolly Romero, who had never been a champion. The Haneyaks are down bad. And here's the proof that I promised you guys. Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios, 13,000 plus tickets sold, $4.5 million gate, $4,537,695. Tank is really that dude. He's really him. Also, last year in January, Gervonta Davis at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., Gervonta Davis versus, again, a guy moving up in weight, Hector Luis Garcia. He fought January 7th. They sold 17,000 plus tickets, comped 1,072, and the live gate for that fight against Hector Luis Garcia was 5.1 million, 5,198,950. Boom. Which proves what I've always told you on my channel, that Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing, and he's a bigger star because he's able to take obscure names that people aren't necessarily familiar with, and he's turning them into these big events, pulling out stars like Madonna, you know, when Tory Lanez was free, him, LeBron James, tons of basketball players, Matt Barnes, and, you know, whole teams almost coming to Tank Davis fights. But Bill Haney literally said, don't let the people convince you otherwise, and put up these bullshit events, and pee on your leg and say it's raining. So who really peed on whose leg when the Haneyacks did everything they could do to try to deconstruct Gervonta Davis to make it look like he wasn't popping, but then per usual, the numbers always back up the truth. And now the Haneyacks, I guarantee you, they're not making a ton of content and video. Let Ryan Garcia pop for Ostarine or have his B sample. Quick videos, quick content gets put out. But then when Boxing Ego continues to be right, all the people who are sneak dissing, now they don't want to talk about this huge news that Gervonta Davis is still him. Early. Breaking news, as I'm recording this video, we got some more information. Bad news. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are now saying they have not been paid for Haney Garcia, which furthers everything that I made and the points I made throughout this video to this point. Ooh-wee. So now this is starting to make a whole lot more sense of how come the numbers for Haney Garcia never came out, especially if there's trouble in paradise with the numbers, with Golden Boy, with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. For some reason, they're expecting monies, and Golden Boy is saying, according to their response, listen, you've got the bulk of what your contract says and you've been paid accordingly. This can't be good, people. This can't be good at all. So like I've said from day one, this fight has been a complete and utter circus, a clown show, a show, and now we're still dealing with it almost 2 months later, and you have issues that are unresolved, fighters mad, Devin's career is in a weird spot, Ryan failed with Ostarine and a positive test on 2 dates, so his career is in a weird spot. Who really truly benefited from this fight? Meanwhile, Boxing Ego told you this from jump, that you guys should really and truly look at this fight. It should have been canceled. And I told you this was a no-win, lose-lose situation for Devin Haney, particularly. Now with all this, his number, you fought Tank's leftovers, and the fight was complete opposite to Tank's fight with Ryan. Then on top of that, he tests positive, he missed weight, there's a lot of shenanigans, and then the numbers weren't even good. And then now you're saying you're not getting paid, none of which Tank Davis said any problems with, or Ryan Garcia. No one complained about Gervonta versus Ryan Garcia numbers or not being paid or anything even remotely close to that. So this is just a travesty. We'll see how this stuff unfolds, but just know that Boxing Ego, Ego Stradamus, told you. And then it's just like the other thing that's kind of forced is like Devin Haney said, I don't want to hear no excuses. After I beat this guy, I trained hard for this. And you got to feel for him, because imagine training like he does and training hard for a big event, and then somebody is making it the laughing stock of boxing and attracting like a non-boxing audience at that, that's probably not going to commit to support boxing monetarily, and you trained all hard. So you got to feel bad for that. I feel bad for anybody, like someone trained hard in the camp and then their opponent misses weight, they fight get canceled or something, or they pop dirty. And, I feel bad for the opponent. But Devin Haney, he's saying like, oh man, y'all got to give me credit. Ryan is making it super hard to give you a lot of credit based on how he's acting. He's acting like literally insane. So it's like he's trying to burn the money. That's what Ryan is acting like. It's too erratic. Some people think it's true, and that's his personality. Some people think he's on drugs. Some people think he's like anxiety or anxious, but some people think it's skullduggery. That's why I said I don't like the fight for Devin Haney, because at this point, I really don't see the upside. You'll see on Saturday. You will see. If the fight makes it, if we make it to Saturday, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Come back to the channel. The way it plays out, I truly believe the world of boxing is going to be embarrassed. The world of boxing, when it plays out, is going to be like, what did I waste my time on? What did I invest my time on when it comes to that? I just have that feeling. I have a feeling like it's going to basically leave fans talking / disappointed, somewhere in there. I don't know exactly how it plays out, but I don't think it'll be like the sport of boxing won and grew crazy. Ryan knocks out Devin, controversy, disqualification. I mean, just look at the potential options for a fight.